Good evening and a warm welcome to all educators joining us today. On behalf of Center, we are delighted to have you with us for another insightful session in our ongoing Center webinar series for teachers, a space where passionate educators come together to learn, reflect, and grow professionally. Your presence and participation continue to inspire us as we build a stronger, more empowered teaching community. Now, it is our pleasure to introduce the facilitator for this transformative session, Jayeshta Dhedya. Jayeshta Dhedya is an educator and curriculum planner for over 25 plus years of experience, having trained 7,000 plus teachers and mentored 80,000 plus learners, an author, speaker, educational consultant. She is a certified POSH and POXO trainer, play therapy trainer, and emotional intelligence trainer, blending psychology, education, Montessori principles, and storytelling. She designs learning experiences that are meaningful and engaging. Author of Teaching Hacks Simplified, she is known for her inspiring mantra, Stop Teaching, Inspire Learning. Now back to the session. Welcome, Jeshta Dhidya, once again, and over to you.
Hi, Ria. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. Thank you for I'm here, giving me this opportunity and a platform to share my views, thoughts. So today's session is about bulletin board. And this is a very, very common topic. I think we all educators must be aware of this term. So I want you all to be 200% present with me, be very participative, try to share as many answers as you can in the comment. And I'd love to hear. Hello, good evening, everyone. Yeah. So please be interactive. It's a very common topic, but what we're trying to do over here is we are in a very different time zone now, and bulletin boards are now replaced with something else, and that we'll get into sooner as we start ahead. So before we venture into the topic, can I request Mr. Praveen to go ahead and share a few questions which I want to ask you, teachers? Oh, great. Okay. So teachers, there is a poll which is live. I want you to try answer it honestly. Oh, wow. It's interesting to know how much time you usually spend creating a bulletin board. 1 to 2 hours. Okay, 51 of you have replied that. So I count as majority of them or half the crowd. Okay, less than 4 hours. Okay. Yeah, so there will be a second poll, which is live teachers. Thank you, Shweta. Very good evening. So this poll is basically to understand, as educators, of how much time we spend creating the bulletin board. So what is your biggest challenge with the bulletin boards? Time constraint. Oh, I resonate with that. I come from the same time frame. Making it meaningful, I think that we will discuss as we proceed ahead. Lack of ideas. We are living in an AI world. I don't think so we will ever fall short of ideas now. After Pinterest coming in, I think our ideas have exploded. So there will be one more poll, teachers. That's the third one. I'm sorry, but yes, these polls are very important for me to know a little more about you. So there'll be a third poll which is live. So what would you like your bulletin boards to do more? Wow, that's lovely. So spark curiosity. I'm sure you must be able to do that by now. Encourage thinking, 35%. Okay. Show student learning, only 17%. Okay. Wonderful. I am so glad that you all have spent good time and honestly answered. So what I will start off from here is, majority of us struggle creating, decorating, making our bulletin boards at an average of spending, like, say, 1 to 2 hours, with a lot of time constraint again, and at the same time making sure that the bulletin board is sparking curiosity. Whether they are or not, I will leave it to you right now. All right. Okay. All right. So before I move in further, let me ask you all one more question. Okay, this is your house. Okay, whatever your house is you're living in. Would you like to beautify your house based on somebody else's suggestion, or would you like to go ahead with, since it's your house, would you like to decorate it with your ideas and thoughts? I want you to answer this in the chat. Okay. If you want me to repeat the question, let me know. So glad to hear this, Mr. Roy, that you enjoy creating the bulletin board. With your ideas, okay, your thoughts. Wonderful. Good going, teachers. Apna ghar hai, our home. So we obviously want it with our own ideas, thoughts. But are you living in the house alone? Or do we have other family members too? Yeah, so there is no right or wrong answer to this. This is just completely your own perspective. Thank you, Mr. Anubhav, for sharing, yes, with your own ideas, but you can consider some other ideas too. This is your home, okay? And we have the other family members also living in that perspective. Yeah, considering individual need, yes, but it's your home. So would you take other suggestion also in consideration, or would you like to go ahead with your thoughts and ideas and thinking, no, this is how it should be. This is how my house should be. I like teamwork. Okay. So, Ms. Hema, right now we are only looking at understanding your ideation or your thoughts on house, your own house. Okay. If you have to decorate your house, if you want to beautify your house, would you like to take other suggestion, or would you like to decorate it with your own thoughts and ideas? Wonderful. A mix of own ideas and others' thoughts. Okay. That's lovely. So, I like that idea. You're creating a space for each member. Wonderful. Thank you, Bani. Preet Kaur. Uh, you'll take the final decision. Awesome. Lovely. Thank you so much, teachers. Now let's come back to that home front, say classroom. Okay. So when you're coming back to your classroom, uh, is the classroom only belonging to the teacher, or are children also a part of it? Okay. That's a question that you need to think about. So whenever we are thinking about a bulletin board, it is always that teachers take the onus that it's my classroom, my bulletin board, and this is how I want it to be. I would like it this way, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong here. And we're all possessive about that because bulletin board showcases something. Okay, so that okay, let me just ask you all this question. What is the word bulletin mean to you? Only the word bulletin, okay? Yes. Children are the crucial part of our classrooms. Absolutely. Wonderful. Glad we are on the same page. Okay. So, what do you understand by the word bulletin? Forget the bulletin board. Only the word bulletin. Children take a major role. Yes. But the classroom decoration, especially the bulletin board, it always comes back to the teacher. Okay. So, okay. So, for you all, it is information, news. Wonderful. Point out something important. Okay. Daily feed. Wonderful. Creation of ideas. Nice. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So, yeah, basically it is when I look at the word bulletin, it's just a generic information which is put up like a notice board, which gives you the important information. But in a classroom, the perspective of a bulletin board completely changes. Let me move ahead from the first slide and come to the next one. Okay. So since we started out with the topic saying that bulletin board is belonging not just to the teacher, but also the children. So let's look at a perspective where we replace the term bulletin board to a learning board. Does that make sense to you all? Lack of creativity is a major issue. Yes, I'll try to address that, teachers. So would you resonate if we had to replace the word bulletin board to the learning walls? Would it make more sense to us? Lovely. Since it's a shared space and whenever there's a new member who comes to our family, okay, everybody works in collaboration to give that space, create that environment, safety environment for the new member. And I think we all teachers also do the same when every year we have new children walking into the classroom with a lot of different expectations, no expectations, curiosity typically that we call in. So I think it's a teacher's responsibility to create a classroom which is child led. Is that workable? Oh, lovely. Team spirit, yes. Okay. Learning boards, yes, anything, because ultimately we utilize a space. So let me come back to the next question over here before we go. So for me, okay, it has always been this for me since my very beginning of my teaching career, and I've followed it till date. So bulletin board is always a shared space with our children, and it works best when we are working together, and especially when it is child led, child curated, and we all work in as a team, because it is a space which is shared by everyone. Who is the learner here? We have to keep that factor in mind. Okay, so that brings us to the next question of why exactly do we need the bulletin board. I'll not read this pointers which you see already on the screen. I think we sum up for everything. Why do we need a bulletin board is basically, it is not just to give out the information, okay, but it is also to reinforce the lessons that are ongoing in our classroom. And what better way to display the work that is going on for a monthly theme, if you're having in any of your classes, or if we have a unit of inquiry, or if we have any specific topic, why not to display that, showcase that, and keep that visual learning to reinforce our lessons through the bulletin board. Do you agree? Do you agree to these pointers? I don't know. If it is, then just comment yes in the chat. So definitely we will look at how bulletin boards can be encouraged and made it more, you can make them more interactive, engaging. How would you celebrate your children's work? I will share the pictures which I've done in my classroom as well, and I continue doing the same. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the answers, teachers. Yes, we have a lot of resource available, so we get the benefit of displaying everything. But when we don't have a resource, can bulletin boards not be created? So just keep these factors in mind. Whenever you're thinking of a bulletin board, I want you to deviate from our teacher making the board to the teacher and the children, or only children also can create bulletin boards. Probably the first day of the classroom could be an empty classroom. Now that will give us jitters when I say so, but that really works well, because month on month you're building onto the environment through various themes, and exactly the points which I've listed works very well, and the bulletin board would make sense, and that gives us the purpose of why do we need bulletin boards in the classroom. Is it for others to see? Is it for showcasing your own talents to our teachers, to our principals, to our parents? What exactly is your motive behind your bulletin boards? Okay, so try to keep these four things in mind whenever you're creating this bulletin board for any given topic. Whether you're reinforcing a lesson, whether you want to make it interactive, when you want to deviate from those passive visual displays to make it more engaging and interactive, at the same time, make it more shareable. Where everybody walks into the classroom or in the corridors, your bulletin board talks. Okay, other than just shouldering the responsibilities and the tasks. Any question for me, teachers, or do we go ahead? Lovely, Rachna. Brainstorming, yes. But you have to keep the age group also in mind. Huh? Brainstorming and all these thinking, reflection work very well when we are talking about 6+ children. But the same thing can be applied even in a preschool uh, category. Okay, it's just the same that probably these children will not be able to write. Okay, so these are some examples for your preschool years. It's a very simple rhyme, but if you see the pictures that are there in between, I don't think so anything which is done by the teacher here. So settling period, if we use our messy play activity, which I used to do. So we used to take this chart paper, we use this messy play, painting with very young children, like say 2 to 3 year olds. We don't discard those papers. We reuse it in the form of a flashcard. Or another option which you can see on the screen is use it for any nursery rhyme which you are doing in the classroom. So you're enhancing your literacy, you're enhancing your various topics of maths, language, art. Also, you're adding value because every child has been a part of this and you're putting it on display. So you've given a highlight moment to that child, which makes him feel more valued in the class. Okay, so this is just one such example. The other one could be something like this, which I call it as a superhero. It could be pertaining to any topic. So if I want to be a superhero, if you're taking it in your primary grades, then how would you do it? Each one will have a different perspective of a superhero. Not all superheroes wear coats, or they always come and become, those superheroes like a Spider-Man or any other characters which we've been seeing in movies. It could be any superhero. Okay, so over here, what I'm trying to say is, if you can display the bulletin board which is made by the child, it looks all the more better and we add more value to our bulletin boards. So I'll share a few more examples here. This could be one which you're setting your rules, responsibilities, if you want to make any sorts of announcement, your daily schedules and your routines. Both are different, but you can use for that as well. So here, if you see this hand is empty, how do you build it up? Probably you can ask the children to come up with ways where, when do you stop? So when children are friends, two people are talking or two friends are talking, one needs to stop and one needs to listen. So they can write their names, they can draw that image in the class, or they can use moments where you need to be quiet. So for example, if I'm reading a book, probably I need to be quiet or I need to read aloud. Depends on whatever your topic is. But this requires a little time, me time for the child to dwell onto the topic once you've given the instruction and they build together. Then don't expect perfection, okay? Because it is created by the child. Are you all with me? Yes, Mr. Roy, correct. Yes, Shweta, based on the curriculum, absolutely. But is it okay if we deviate from the curriculum and how about talking about uh, social emotional learning? Why don't we put that on the bulletin board? Why only about curriculum? Why can't we deviate from the curriculum? So just the thought process, not that you have to do something extra and going out of your way and add more burden to you. This is something which can be mutually done. This is a part of the daily routine, and where you set the rules, you brainstorm with your own class children and put it down over here on the chart and one on one of your display board or the bulletin board where children can refer to. So whenever they forget anything, you can always bring them back here. Okay, so this is just one or two examples which I could share, variation where I kept on giving about a routine, a class routine where you talk about your responsibilities, you talk about any topic. It could be any topic or it could be as simple as your nursery rhyme. Okay, I hope this is so far good. Mr. Praveen, can I ask you to share one more poll, one more question? Yes, Sony. So you usually have a theme. Yes, we all have themes. So themes are easier to work with. So every time we have a theme, we know we have a clarity of what we want to put on our bulletin board. But sometimes it's okay to deviate also. So whatever, it's theme based, non-thematic based, as long as the child is a part of the process, is something which is very, very important. It decreases the responsibility or gives a little breather to the teachers that I am not shouldering the responsibility of creating the bulletin board all alone. Okay, adds on to the task. Rather, when we work together in a group, it is more meaningful. Absolutely, children learn more when their work is displayed. In fact, yeah, every time they literally drag their parents during the PTM. Mama, देखो teacher ने रखा है वो work मेरा. See, मेरा worksheet है वो. Even if you put up a simple worksheet in the class as a display thing, children literally grab hold of their parents, they pull them until the parent has noticed their work in the classroom. Yes, Monica, you can absolutely make it as a kids' corner. Yeah. I think every space in your classroom can be converted as a learning space. Why just put it as a bulletin board and restrict it to a specific space? Little hands at work, big hands also at work together. I think that sounds much better. Okay. So let's go to the next bit. Teachers, any questions? If you have any questions so far, just put it in the chat. Okay, so this is another thing. If you want to talk about responsibilities, okay, this is not pertaining to any theme, but if you want to talk about giving a responsibility to every child in the class, you could create those designations, and this is a bulletin board or a display board just for what is my job for the day. You could do it weekly, you could do it daily, so that every child doesn't have to wait for too long. I want to be the monitor of the class and I don't have to wait for a week. So when you change it regularly, what happens is it becomes a little easier for children to feel that this job for me is achievable. So tomorrow I'm going to be getting a chance of being a class monitor. Tomorrow I'm going to be getting a chance to be the captain of my house. So it just peps up, makes the task a little achievable, and yes, it displays absolutely Kavita. All right, so let's go to the next one. So this is another sample of your daily plan. Teacher, this is different. Daily plan and daily routines are way too different. But this is just an example where the visual display calms the anxiety of a child. I know what's coming in next as a child when the teacher is putting up something like this. Okay, so it works very well whether you're talking about it as a social emotional learning, whether it talks about class management. The teachers, not only just teachers, but even children are well prepared of what's coming in next. So after my circle time, probably we are going to be doing something about letters, or we are working with numbers, or a teacher is going to be telling us a story. So everything, whatever you do in the class, now just put it visually. This works with all types of learners, especially the time that we're talking about inclusivity or cultural alignment. Everything can come here. It's just a matter of putting it on display. Okay, and these are things you don't need to change periodically. It just stays there unless you have a change of routine. It's very easy. Make your life easy. Basically, teachers, we are bogged down with so much of work, and ek to time nahi hai. So how to utilize that time? So some things needs to stay for the whole year. Some things will need to change it periodically. Like for an event, January month is full of events. Your annual events, your sports event, your maybe your festive events. So you need one space where you're constantly changing it, but some things can be fixed, which saves your time. You don't need to redo that board every single time. So try to identify the corners or the walls which you feel can be standard, fixed, static throughout the year, which will be needed for year on year with the same classroom. Or then probably do something which is for a longer duration. It at least stays in your classroom for a period of 1 to 2 months, because that is a silent way of teaching literacy as well. Okay, it's an environmental print awareness that we talk about. This is another example which you see on the screen where visually the children know that which children are going by bus, which children are picked up by the parents, which children will be picked up by the caregivers, which children are going by a cab, or are they continuing further for any after school programs or clubs. So this is a very visual routine which is at display, and it also helps the teacher, especially when there are two teachers in the class and one is absent and the second one is new. It's all there, so there is no teacher saying, oh, I didn't know this. Okay, so it creates a less of hassle, and the time management is better when you have everything visually displayed in your classroom. And teachers, whatever I'm sharing with you today is not just for the webinar. I have done that practically in the class every single year. Okay, this is what was a protocol. So I never had teething issues of, you know I missed out a child boarding a bus. He was a child who used to come in the bus, or a parent had to pick up. So we never goofed up there because of the visual routines on display. So this is another example where we have, this can work very well for older children, primary, secondary year students, where we are talking about what is a classroom agreement. Here you could take any given topic, whether it is about your social values, whether you're talking about moral values, whether you're talking about disciplining. Everything can be put here, because here this is completely the child's work. And when you add pictures or doodles, don't try to create and beautify it. Leave it the way it is, because it's child done. Children have agreed to this and they have to follow the rules then. Okay, this is an agreement by the child, for the child. So let's quickly understand how many types of bulletin boards do you know. Whatever you know. Okay, how many different types of bulletin boards are you aware of? Quickly want you to write your answers in the chat. For example, a notice board. Then which other board can you think of? Ah, lovely. That's nice. Nice little chart. Wonderful. I like that idea. Billboard, notice board. Awesome. Birthday boards, yes. Children feel so special about, seeing their birthday chart. Okay. Wonderful. Only these many? Star performers. Yes, now you're answering. Oh, wonderful. Interactive board. Wonderful, Uma. I was waiting for this. Lost and found. I like this a lot. Lost and found. Achievement board. Yes. Wall magazine. Lovely. I'm loving the answers, teachers. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, so there are lots and lots of types of bulletin board. I'll just roughly share few that I know. Okay, it could be your conceptual board, it could be your event board, it could be your information board, it could be your thematic board, seasonal board, it could be something about your emotion chart board or something like that. But there are many, many options that you can do. There is no dirt to the kind of topics. Whatever you have in your mind can all go on to your bulletin board. But yes, amongst all the types of boards, bulletin boards, I would rate interactive boards as on the highest category because they just work amazingly well into our classroom, and it reduces a lot of teething issues or class management issues in the classroom subtly, and it also keeps children engaged in their free time. So I'll share one over here. This is a simple thematic board which is probably for a jungle scene, and this is a very common one. But if you look at something like this, now this is a simple nursery rhyme which is depicted in the classroom, and the teacher has displayed. So this looks like a teacher work, but you try to do this with a child. How do you engage the child into this kind of a work? Probably they can paint, they can make the clouds, they can make the Incy Wincy Spider flashcards, nursery rhyme flashcards. You give them some cards, they can color it, and they can display it. How beautifully they have used those roles to make the Incy Wincy Spider climbs up the water spout. So this was a very simple thing which you can use. Again, these are some things again which we practically do, but everything is visually on display. So if this month, supposedly you're taking a topic of fruits, so many different seeds that you get in fruits, seedless, edible, inedible, all that could be on display. Some with many, some with just one seed in it, some fruits which are small, some which come in bundles, and there are lots of options. Instead of you teaching through concept, visually let it be there on display. The entire concept can be live here. So what happens is a child is already prepared mentally of what we're going to be learning. Then we can just work around with a lot of experimentation and exploration in the classroom. Yes, you could do the first for vegetables which grow under the ground, which could grow, which are leafy, everything. You can even make the same board interactive by asking the children to get the realistic picture and match it to the uh, artificial image or the clip art image that you have displayed. So let them see that the image, the picture image and the realistic image are the same or different. You could even do that. The same thing can become interactive and a group work. This is something which is again a thematic board where you take your seasons, your event, your Republic Day, your Makar Sankrant. You can just display it. Okay, so this is basically a thematic related event bulletin board. If you're looking at your topic like say solar system, now this we made a 3D structure of the solar system in the class. We're using a paper mache. It was a huge, and we also used those soft spongy ball of various sizes, and we created them and colored it. But it was a group project which we did in the class, and the same thing we kept it on display and also use it in the classroom to talk about solar system when we were learning about this topic in the class. So this is just one example that you could use, and this bulletin board is more on the 3D style, not just a 2D style. So something like that you could also explore. Over here, all your life cycles can come and play. So the basic life cycle model that could also be used as your display. Yes, we have a reflection board. Yeah, wonderful. Excellent. I'm so happy to hear this that you asked the children to draw and put up that on the board. Wonderful, wonderful. Amazing. Special children in the month of the autism month. Amazing. That's wonderful. So these are some more examples where we are talking about the life cycle of a butterfly, about so basically it's about an insect, and then how we move on to the life cycle of a vegetable. You can pick up any other vegetable in this, not just particularly the one which you see. It could be any life cycle. So here what you do is everything, the craft, art and craft activity which you make the children do, use it as your bulletin board activity, where the group, it's child-led, and the group is working together to create that board instead of only you making or teaching it and putting it on display. Yes, it's a corner of pride. Absolutely. vehicles. So this is one example which I do. So my entire room, I basically work on language. So my entire classroom is filled with things with language. Year beginning, I decide with my children how would they like to learn. So they've already decided this year they want to learn grammar through a karaoke session. They want to paint, they want to draw, they want to make board games. So they decide, and throughout the year, I plan my activities based on their need and their wants. So my entire wall, or every wall in my classroom, it has something or the other related to grammar, whether it is about finding meanings, whether it's about any grammar topic, or whether it is about framing simple sentences or extending it to a paragraph. So I completely display it on the board. Whenever children feel like, we start with a game, work on the wall, and then get on to the next part of the day. So it saves my time as a teacher when I'm working with older children. And I'm talking, when I'm doing this, I'm talking about fifth and sixth graders here. Okay. So, and it also works well with our preschool. So in preschool, what I used to do is, my walls below, usually when we display something fancy, we dread, oh, children will go and tear it. What if it gets destroyed and have to remake, redo this? So instead, what we did was, in the lower section, in the eye level of the child is what I meant. uh, I used to display something which is hands-on for children. Whenever they used to go or wash using the washroom, they used to just keep touching the walls. So we used to keep maze over there, or we used to keep any shape over there. We used to keep anything which was, cut and paste. So they used to pick up, and they like the noise of the Velcro, sticking and taking out that picture of that wall, that from the Velcro. That noise is very fascinating, because we had a lot of special children also in the classroom. So keeping those elements in mind, for me, interactive boards or interactive bulletin board displays have worked like magic. Okay, so this is just one such idea. This is another one where we were working on exclamations. So again, this is something which the children have to think. They used to relate it, correlate it with their friends, and share their answers. This could be for your preschool, where you're talking about colors. And if you see the containers here, the pictures over there, some containers have one picture, whereas some containers have additional pictures there. What you could do is, you can just keep some in the basket below. So whenever children are, free after their snack time, they're sitting there doing nothing, instead of creating a ruckus, which we talk in the teacher language, or if it's becoming too noisy or playful, they can just go there, play if they want to. Okay, so it's nothing that you have to manually sit there and teach. The idea is to make it independent and let the child use it. And once children interact with the board now, whatever you keep on display, they will not try to harm, tear it, or damage your uh, display material. So do that with a lot of trust, and let them be a part of it. So once children are a part of it, damages in the classroom, writing on the wall, yeah, riddle also works really well. Yeah, all this is perfect for primary, secondary, especially when you're doing anything in terms of poems. Really works well. So this is what I did. I have huge, large maze on the floor, which we spread out, which children play with, and I also put it on the wall where they. So I do it for many topics. You can, whatever your topic is, you can give them worksheets, also different types of maze worksheets, which can again be used on the wall. Or if you want to just keep the children engaged, you can even use it in your corridors, where one wall you're just displaying the empty mazes. So in their free time, whenever the children are having a recess break or something like that, they can just walk in, solve the maze, and go on back, get back to their work. So something like this is just not taking time at all. But at the same time, we are meaningfully engaging the children independently, and they can feel free to visit whenever they want. It's not a teacher structured or a teacher directed activity. It's a child structured and a child directed activity. And he or she can choose when they want to use this or not. Okay, this is another way that you could utilize your interactive board. Or, would you rather choose to do your homework, or would you rather choose to do something else? It's like, debate, or talking about, I want to do this, but, or maybe we should do this. Should we stay at home, or should we go for a movie? Should we stop giving homework, or should we have homework in the classroom? These are debatable topics, and children love it. Okay, especially with your senior KG children, ask them to draw it if they are not able to write. Even if the children are supposedly not good writers in your classroom, don't hesitate. Let them express it. You can write it. You can be their words. You can write it for them. Let them share their bit, and that's how you could proceed ahead. Or the children who are smarter, or smarter in the sense who are able to write it down independently, they can help each other with the partners, and they can. So one child can share with the other child, and the other one draws it out for him. So something like that in teamwork also really works best. And these are all things which are practical. Okay. This can be best used for the lost property. Every day children leave behind something. So what you could do is last month you can just accumulate everything that children have forgotten and put it on display and use it as an I spy game. Or also you can pick up those things which are amiss, a loose piece of puzzle, a block which is lost, something which is randomly available in the classroom environment, and you can just put it up. It's an I spy board, and you can utilize it for your literacy lessons and it really works well. And you don't need to play this. Children can do it all by themselves. This is another way where you could make your classroom wall very, very interactive, fun, and engaging. So this is you can find the word of the day. Here you can ask the children to find their name. So with the letters, you can encourage them to write their names. So you can have a Velcro behind it, so they can pick the letter card and place it on the bulletin board and form their name. So these are some other options that you could think of. I hope so far the ideas are good enough. Or are you all doing all this in the classroom? Let's hear that from your teachers. Anything that you resonated with so far? Or you found, oh, this was something which I did not know and I'm going to try this for sure. Anything on that front, teachers? So, Pooja, which one are you going to be trying now? I'm very curious to know about the lost and found cupboard. So identify which ones amazed you, which one you felt, oh, this was something I can do this. You can modify it and utilize it. Something which is going to be saving your time. Maze is fun. You see the interaction with your children. Good to know, Pooja. Awesome. Awesome. So this is again something which is on mindfulness, what brings you joy. Here you could even play around with emotions. So instead of the words, you could take expressions, different expressions. Wow, that's nice, Madhumika. Yes, if you look at your bulletin board as an aid, you have plethora of ideas to explore. But the question is, teachers don't have to do it. It is a teamwork. My entire perspective of having this is reduce your work in the classroom, put this onus on the child, let them be responsible, let them take the ownership of being a part of the classroom, the space which is even shared by them. That's my objective. Oh, lovely, Archana. So glad to hear this makes my day. Okay. Maze one is my favorite also, and especially the grammar part. They just love it. So I was talking about this image which you see on the screen right now. You could use for any emotions. So you can have simple smiley emotions. You can use a paper bags also, or you can use plates also. Let the children draw how they feel today, and they can put it up on the display board. And every time they have that kind of a feeling. So I'm feeling angry. When are the times that I'm feeling angry? They can just go draw. All right. Yeah, so try to, yes, wonderful, Pooja. This is my objective here, that don't make your bulletin boards as your decorative piece. See, at the end, nobody will remember what you've done last year, but child will exactly know, because that's how he felt while doing this project with you. It's a learning, it's a group learning. So it always works best when you do it together with a group. When I say a child, I'm even talking including 2-year-olds. Okay, I'm not just talking about older children. So there are many things which you can tweak it and use it for your preschool years as well. Yes. Weather chart and all, yes, correct. Awesome. So even when you feel like, when you put up a word like joy, you should also be doing that daily. So today I am feeling this, or I'm happy because probably I was able to reach school on time, or I was able to complete this task on time, or my mummy has given me my favorite breakfast for snacking, something like that. So write that. Get into the practice of you doing it along with children, because that's how children will look at you and start expressing it, because otherwise this is going to remain blank. Okay. So try to do this with all the emotions. This is specifically for phonics. If you all are using phonics in your classroom, it's a very visual display of all the sounds. So if you all are using your 42 sounds in phonics, keep those sound flashcards on display so that they understand the pattern of how spellings work, the way they work. And you could even use your children's picture on it. So if you're doing, say, letters, and if you have any child beginning with a letter friend letter sound, you could use that child's picture also on it. So that adds more to it. This is a cute little story about the little red hen, and this is it's a mixed bunch. It's a teamwork as well as the so if you see the handprints which are there, that could be children. The wall also, the mill also could be done by the child, completely by the child. Even those speech bubbles, let the child write the dialogue. What is it that the hen said? The spoken words by the hen could all go in this. So take any topic, any story, you can just make it live. Story of the month, story of the week. So make it visually appealing, but at the same time, remember your objective. Child led, child created. This is another example of verbs. So every time you introduce a new verb, ask them to go and put it. For example, if I say the word yodel, okay? Now, how many of us over here know the meaning of yodel? If you all know it, just type the answer in the chat. Yes. Yes, Madhumita. Yeah, it could be anything related to books, any genres that we are doing. If you're doing any kind of persuasive writing, or if you're any kind of creative writing also that you're doing, can go on the display board. You can have children make those advertisement posters, which can again go on your display board as well. Yeah. So weekly becomes, again, teachers get tired because they feel the burnout, that there is too much of creative work to do. Um, So try to reduce that, because we want the real learning in the classroom. That's the reason when you look at the bulletin board, which should be replaced ideally with the learning walls, and that is created by the child, it will give a very different perspective. Teachers will also start enjoying, and in the class is completely on, will have less anxiety, a lot of less disruptions. So yeah, anybody? What is a don't check with your Google Baba. He is on holiday. So I want you to tell me the meaning of yodel. Thank you. If not, it's fine, perfectly okay. I will not share the answer. I want you to go back to the dictionary, which is what I do with my children. And any new word that they learn, they go and put it up. Okay. So I make them do it in a book, because they have to use that word and the vocabulary. They're not allowed to use boring words. So I do a mix of making a wall which is of taboo words, and a wall, and also the book which is of taboo words. They're not allowed to use overly boring words, and replace it with better words and frame sentences. So this is what I do in the classroom. This is another example of animals in action. So some animals which are flying, some animals which are walking, some animals which are swimming. You can again relate it to your EVS topic. At the same time, you can integrate it with your language. This is a little activity on phonics, which could be perfect for your three-letter words, reading, writing. This is typically for your onset and rhyme topic. This could be an achievement type of a bulletin board where you celebrate the child's achievement, whether it is big or small, irrespective of that. The achievement of the child is on display, and the thrill that children have. My photograph is on the bulletin board, is another happiness altogether. See over here, this could be another way of displaying the good behavior of children. We caught you doing good. Okay, we caught you doing this. Appreciate this. So when you put it up on the display board, it just gives a little motivation, and you add value to the child's feeling. You just make them feel seen and heard. Simply, if I could say, they just feel seen and heard. My teacher acknowledged my effort in the classroom, and that makes a yes. and that makes a whole lot of difference. Okay, this is another way. So I do a lot of these things in the classroom when we talk about emotions, because children do not share their emotions openly. So they will just shy away, they'll get angry, they'll sit, they'll not talk. Whatever your outbursts are in the classroom, the best is to display it every time. How are you feeling today? Go and tap that. If you're feeling and you don't want to share it with any of us or your parents, I want you to simply draw. It just becomes more therapeutic. At the same time, you made it interactive instead of just passively having emotions displayed on the bulletin board. So whenever you feel you're angry and you don't want to talk to me or your friends, you simply go tap that emotion and tell, I don't want to talk, or I want to be alone, I need some me time. But utilize that bulletin board which is on display in your classroom. Don't just let it go waste. So these are some things, event-based bulletin board. Just a request, please note that we preschool teachers or in school, we use, I don't know how, I cannot count, but we use a lot and lot of chart papers in the classroom for annual days. Try not to put dates, and if you can reuse it, nothing best than that. Okay, people don't remember what you do for annual day. They only come there to see their children. So what is the objective of your display boards? Again, is very very important. Go back to your purpose of why do you need this. Uh, do I have to only focus on the background where the children will constantly go back and see? This is what happens when we put the LEDs and we display something. Instead of performing, children keep on looking at that shiny thing, glamorous thing which is there shining behind them. So they're curious to know what's happening behind them rather than focusing on the performance which they already know. So reduce the distractions, because overly decorated boards also bring a lot of make the children feel a little overwhelmed, distracted. Okay, and there's a lot of overstimulation that happens. So try to reduce that, keep it as simple as possible, and reuse it. So this is what I used to do. If teaching it is made once in our classroom, that is used for next 10 years. They are not allowed to discard it. Okay, and I don't worry about what will the parents think, because over here the annual day is for the child. We want to see how the child is comfortable sharing whatever he has learned throughout the year, and not what we want him to do. Okay, school is a learning space, so always think of what you're doing. Don't put the dates, reuse it. So this is one example which we do. So if you see the background over there, that's a yellow color cloth which we reuse it for miscellaneous function. The same cloth is used for our Ganpati festival. We use the same thing for a Navratri festival. We use the same things, just we rearrange the decoration. Okay, that is what we've been doing, and these are very old. We've been using for more than, like, say, 7 years. Okay, if you see, this is a banner. If you are using a lot of banners, try to flex something which is not eco-friendly, so try and avoid it. But in case if you're in a situation where you have to use this as your display board in your events, try to not put the date. Okay, so that you can reuse it. And we used to always reuse the backside of the image for messy play. Yes, Pooja, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So parents' feedback. This is one of my favorites. So instead of, when parents are sitting for the PTM waiting for their turn, keep this on display where the parents are sitting and ask them to write something which they take back from the school for their child. Any valuable feedback goes on here. So parents are also engaged while they're waiting for their turn. And as a teacher and as a school head, we get to know what they think about us, or what is it that their need is. So this really works well if you're looking at your bulletin board as a parent communication. So you can have something for your teachers also. You can use it for your welcome to the PTM board also. But again, this could be child friendly. I do not prefer using these kind of, right now the image which you see, I prefer being done by the child, because otherwise it's just a display board. Okay, so please, coming back to the same question, keep in mind how many hours we spend to create that one bulletin board. Is it worth the effort? Is there learning for the child in it? Or is it my showcasing of the creativity? We are anyways creative. By default, teachers are born creative. Even if not, we know that we are. Okay, thanks to the gadgets. So just go back to the question of, is it relevant or not? Okay, so time saving hacks, please use cloths instead of a paper for the bulletin board. See if you can use any pre-cut. We know that we're going to be using letters, numbers, shapes, borders. Keep that laminated throughout and use the same thing. Just keep changing the layout. And if you can reuse the old materials, you are adding a lot to your environment, because we use paper like water. So, my genuine request is reduce your usage of paper, reuse, recycle. Okay. Try to do that, save your time, spend more time, keep time for yourself, be happy, get your jobs done faster, and at the same time, adhere to what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. So, any idea how many chart papers do we use at an average? Okay, so moment I'll just give you a rough idea. Around anywhere between 300 to 1500 papers every single year. I'm talking about schools and preschools together. Okay, at an average. Calculate, sit back at the year end and see how many papers have you used just for your bulletin boards, and you'll be surprised. And when you start reusing everything, you'll realize that your cost has reduced to 50%. So stop wasting paper, see the purpose, see the utility, and what is the objective. If your objective is clear, this is super easy. So I hope this session made some sense. So this is our Janmashtami festival. If you see, everything is painted by the child. We've just arranged it, and we make the children. We do this in front of our children. They are a part and parcel of every single thing. So this is our Christmas Day celebration. Very simple, nothing fancy. Again, for the white day, we use the same cloths. So these are some things which I do in the classroom. Let me know if you have questions. And I hope you enjoyed the session. Had some takeaways, at least. Okay. Wonderful thoughts. So, what made the presentation or the session wonderful? Go back, think about it. And what are you going to be executing? I just want to take a moment to say thank you for being there. Any questions, teachers? Thank you. I can go on for the whole day with the types of bulletin boards because I've experimented with a lot in the class. Yes, please go ahead with the question. I think I missed your question. Priya or Mr. Praveen, are you there around?
Yes, thank you, Jeshta. That was a very engaging and informative session. And I'm sure all the teachers would have a lot of takeaways from it on how different ways to, show the bulletin boards. Um, there are a few instructions that I need to tell the teachers about. So the first is that I would guide you through all these instructions. Um, if there are no questions, I can proceed with it. I don't think there are any more questions, right? Um, so first is that they need to open the Center app on the device and navigate to the ongoing webinar session and click on to the submit feedback feedback. Please note that this option will be available till 6 p.m. only. Um, at the end of the session, we will share a 4-digit code required for feedback. So enter this code to access the feedback form. The code is 1425. I repeat, the code for the feedback form is 1425. Complete the feedback form and you'll be able to download your record of participation instantly. This new process was introduced to streamline your experience and ensure your participation is instantly recognized. Thank you for all your active participation in today's session. We truly appreciate your engagement. Have a wonderful evening. Yes, thank you.
Hi, so I think I missed one question. Teachers, I think somebody was asking the question twice that can a board be merged? Absolutely, you can merge the board, but I would not advise if it's a young learner, try to keep the board separate. If you are working with older children, then yes, definitely you could merge the concepts. Like you could merge something with creative writing and your vocabulary, something like that. You can have a merger there, something which is in alignment. If you have any other questions, let me know. Thank you. Thank you so much, Santa. Thank you, Mr. Praveen. Thank you, Ria.